Neighbours, everybody needs good neighbours. Just a friendly wave each morning.
We can carry on like this for a little while, don't I?
It's bringing it all back to me. Those years spent watching Neighbours.
Oh, I loved it. Our next guest is more than just a neighbour. He's a good friend. Harold Bishop has survived car accidents, heart attacks, and even been swept out to sea. But this week, actor Ian Smith bid his final farewell to Ramsay Street.
Yes, and it was an emotional one. Ian's been on Neighbours for almost 40 years. His goodbye was emotional, not just on the screen, but off the screen as well, because he's dealing with his own cancer treatment. Well, before we speak to Ian, joining us live from Melbourne this morning, good morning to you. Let's take a look at the last moments on the soap for him.
I love that Ramsay!
Almost 40 years ago, I arrived in this street. I came in search of a lost love. And not only did I find her, but I ended up making the best possible friends a man could ever have, really.
It's a family, eh?
Oh, there have been good times, but there have been incredibly sad times too. But here we are. Even in my darkest hours, I was never alone. This has been more than a street for me, you see. And you've been more than neighbours. My life has been enriched by knowing every one of you.
Oh, I'm having a bit of a moment,
That's got us
actually.
all rather emotional here, Ian. Ian joins us now in his first UK interview since leaving the soap. You've been very busy at the moment, I know, filming that documentary, charting this moment in your life. How does it feel, looking back, 38 years in probably one of, if not the most famous soap in the world? It must be a strange feeling right now, looking back in many ways.
It's there are a couple of things happening in my life that I'm not sure that I'm not clever enough with the language to describe how they're affecting me. I thought I knew what I was saying when my dear friends over the years have told me they've had cancer. I've tried to think of it as any other human being. I thought I had it pinned down. No, I hadn't. When I was told that I had cancer, I was in a space that, I don't know, I'm not clever enough to tell you, but it's a very, very particular place that you share by yourself. No one is there to help you. There are a lot of people there trying to help you, and they think they are helping, but no. They won't know until maybe it happens to them themselves. It's a cruel, ugly, brutal place and I don't know how, but it looks like I'm having the best luck in the world with defeating this cancer. Although the oncologists can't tell me that. They said because this cancer is so rare, so drastic, so severe, so awful. They don't know. They don't know what it's going to do. After my last treatment, I said, how long do I have to keep going with these treatments? And he said, well, that's up to you. I thought I was in your hands. And he said, no, we know so little about this cancer that we don't know if you stop taking the treatments, it may roar back into life. So I said, well, look, for an hour's treatment every 3 weeks, I think I can put up with that. And it looks like these very clever people are going to keep me alive.
Well, it's good to hear, because it is a rare, aggressive lung cancer, isn't it, that you've defied the odds already, because according to the experts, they didn't think that you'd still be here now, but you are responding to that treatment. And I know that you might have waved goodbye to Neighbours this week, which I'm sure was an emotional one for you, but, you've still got things that you want to do, haven't you?
Oh, very much so, yes. You see, I would never, as a lot of actors do, rubbish soap. Neighbours did so much for me. it made me realize just how much I had to learn for starters. I mean, I'd been working as an actor, I don't know, what, 30, 40 years before Neighbours. And I thought I had it pretty well pinned down. I found out I didn't. I had to do it. And you know what? A lot of that was young actors coming up to me and saying, could you help me in the next scene? And I didn't know that I was capable of doing that. And in helping them, by God, I was helping myself like I had no idea I could do. It was wonderful. I couldn't wait for the next kid to come to me and say, give us a hand, will you? Oh, gee, they were helpful.
Now, Ian, I've done a little bit of acting, what you do, but nothing like 38 years. I'm really intrigued to know, when you play a character like that for 38 years, most of us will play the character in front of the screens, in a studio, on stage, we can go home and we leave that character alone. Harold Bishop has probably never gone away. He's almost become you. You must think like Harold Bishop a lot of the time.
Well, I had to do that when I started. Yes, that's quite true. Although I didn't know what I was doing when I first started. I had just finished the show Prisoner. You may or may not remember Prisoner, but
yes.
You're too young, aren't you?
No, I do remember it. We all remember Prisoner. It was iconic. It was an iconic show, yeah.
Yes. Well, I came out of that thinking I was going into another show in about 5 to 7 weeks as a script editor, not as an actor. And so they asked me if I would spend 5 weeks in Neighbours as a friend for Madge. They were procuring, let's face it. That's what they were doing. I said, yeah, by all means. I did my mental arithmetic very quickly and worked out that would work out lovely. So anyway, in I went. But, you know, I was doing that show and I was in the set in front of cameras, not nervous at all because my best friends were cameramen. And, you know, anyway, but I couldn't make this character Harold. I couldn't get anything. I didn't know what I wanted him to do. And then all of a sudden, the show that I was supposed to be going into fell over. I said, oops, come on in, or it's back to a jobbing actor. So I settled down and I tried so hard to get Harold. And then one day, we used to do camera rehearsals in those days. And all of the cameramen, there were 3, of which there were 3 in those days. There's only 2 these days. They all laughed. And they're a very hard crowd to make laugh, cameramen, because they've seen it all. And I said to one of them, who we called Stappy, I said, Stappy, why did you laugh? What did I just do? He said, you're a silly old fart.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to you.
Yes. And I said, can you define that? He said, no, I can't. So I tried to remember what I had done, and I did it again, and they laughed again. So I said, right, gotcha. And then I did that a couple more times that day, and each time they laughed. And I said, Harold, get on board. And 12 months after that, I got my next 12-month contract. So
I think the thing is, you know, when we were watching it, and I grew up watching you on Neighbours, and over here in the UK, do you remember we had 2 episodes a day? It was just such a massive hit. And I think it sort of feels like, you know, you leaving feels like it's a family member going. People have that strong connection. What was it, do you think, about Neighbours that just gave people that sense, you know, they wanted to watch it, they wanted to be in these people's lives, to follow them?
Look, I'll tell you what. Oh, Charlotte, what did you ask that for? Yes, I know. The thing is, in my opinion, as long as there is a newspaper, as long as the sun rises and the humans start being human, there will be a space for a show called Neighbours. People are interested in looking over the back fence to see what their neighbours are doing. And as long as that's happening, there's every right for the show to keep going. But it's up to the storyliners and the writers and the brass to carry that story from off the street onto a script to actors who are clever enough to retell it on the screen and make it interesting. Of course, you can make it interesting, but you can make it overdone. And that is what, and people said to me when I was doing Prisoner, it's only a soap. I said, it may be a soap, but we're going to make the best damn soap that there is. And we try to. And I think we lasted for enough years to prove the point that you can make a good soap. Yes, people put the word soap down. I don't, never will. It's a good... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll let you finish. Let you finish, and then we'll.
I think as long as there are people, young actors, I think it was the best school for young actors. And it was interesting for me because I would see young actors come in and you could see the ones who just wanted to be on the front page of some TV magazine. And you could see the ones who wanted to learn how to interpret a written word. And I kid myself that a lot of the kids who came up to see me and say, Ian, would you help me with the next scene? I said, what's your trouble? What are you finding that's wrong with it? And they said, oh, I just can't get that truth thing. And that was the thing that was driving them mad, the truth thing. It's very hard to tell what a truth thing is to affect somebody else. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to be hurtful. And you've got to say to that person, the truth means you've got to hurt that person. Do you think you can hurt the actor you're playing opposite? And they didn't answer. I said, you'd have trouble doing that. They say, yes. I said, well, parent, that's your job. It's your job. Absolutely. Not to worry about hurting that person, but to make you think that hurting that person will affect your appearance on them.
Ian, you've done your job brilliantly. You really have. And thank you so much for being a friend and a neighbour to so many of us around the world. And we wish you such good luck with your treatment. Go on. Did you want to say something?
There's a person living over in England that I so want to get them to contact me. Cindy, in Burford. Please, Cindy, call me.
I love that.
I lost all of your details.
God, I love that.
Listen,
Cindy,
let's hope we can make that happen for you. Ian, thank you so much. Sending you all our love and best wishes to you. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Oh, how lovely is he?
We can get them back in touch together.